Yo, it's time we head to the top. We cannot settle or stop. Out for the best. Coming up next, we connect the dot.
Yo, Connect the Dot podcast. We are back with another episode. Hope you guys like what's going on so far. We've only released one podcast so far, but we've got a bunch in the vault. Today, you know, we're jumping in here. We got Mr. Mike Guts in the building. What up? We got Specs Don in the building. Myself, Director Dan Barker. Missing out on Dre Specs today. Shout out to Dre Specs.
Couldn't make it today.
Shout out to Dre Specs.
Come on, Joe.
Oh, he's here in spirit.
Trust me.
He's definitely here in spirit, you know.
He's sick, but at the same time, that could be a conspiracy. Maybe something's going on.
I don't know, man.
We
and of course, we got Hollywood in the background.
Right.
You know,
Mr. Hollywood.
Mr. Hollywood.
You know, you guys have been seeing the edits. You guys have been seeing the chops on the full podcast, like the long forms. That's all Hollywood. Hollywood's making us sound nice and good, and you know, yeah, absolutely. You know, helping us out with the monitor in the back with all the info and the clips and stuff too.
And like we say all the time, make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. You know, share that shit. You know, make sure you get into the comment section too. Tell us what you want us to talk about, debate. You know, share the reels. You know, hit up the comments. Yo, we ask the public what we think, man. We just talk about the shit, you know. But, you know, your opinion means a lot to us, you know. And so, you know, make sure you hit that sub button, follow button, share that shit. Let everybody know.
Comment below, inbox, you know, let us know who do you guys want to see on the podcast. If you're an artist, please hit us up. If you do want to come on as a guest, we are going to be doing more guest spots and stuff like that. And as you guys saw in that thumbnail, we got some funny topics. We got some good topics. And as always, we got some artist reviews. So, you know, local Canadian hip-hop, local hip-hop, underground hip-hop. People submit their songs. We review it. And that's going to be a little bit later on the show. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that.
And thank you guys for, you know, all the people that did comment on the videos. You know, we appreciate y'all. We took in the opinions. And, you know, like, you know, we don't just sit back and see that. We comment. We go back with y'all, you know, go back and forth if we need to. And, you know, it's like we said, we try to connect the city, and like, you know, the city needs this, the culture needs this. So, you know, shouts to y'all, you know. I think I consider the top.
Shout out to the supporters, man. Long-time supporters.
Sure.
We're actually going on our 10th anniversary this year.
I said that, the 10th anniversary. I did an interview actually with shouts to Tic Tactic. He had a podcast thing that I was on. I was promoting my album, and talked about Connect the Dot. We were talking about the upcoming show that we're doing.
Yeah, February 9th. Make sure you guys check that out. Yeah. We got a nice stacked lineup and stuff like that in Pickering. So. And
we were talking about, you know, the years of Connect the Dot, how the come up, et cetera. And I said, we're going on 10 years. So
yeah, in March. It's its 10th year anniversary.
You know, and I remember seeing somebody post like, yo, the day one basement vibes, right? Like, yo, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
true.
Good times, like COVID times.
Yeah. Specs
Don
was there.
Specs Don was there. That's when we met Mr. Hollywood when he came through.
And now we're back and we're here.
I keep asking and I keep saying, yo, did that episode get dropped with Hollywood?
It never got dropped, but we keep talking about going back.
We have to go back
somewhere on the hard drive.
We have to go back to the
archives.
In the archives.
So, but let's get into it. It's been a crazy week. We decided to do an emergency podcast.
We had to talk about this shit. Let's jump right into it, yo.
I really want to, because for one, I'm a big comedy head. Like, for those that don't know, I came up on hip hop, I came up on rock and roll, and I came up on comedy. Those are like the three things that really drove like my influence. And like skateboarding was a big thing for me when I was younger, right? But the comedy world, like you guys know, I worked with Yuck Yucks. I was a booking agent with Yuck Yucks. I used to throw a lot of comedy shows.
I remember.
I've probably worked with almost like 90%, maybe not, because there's a lot of comedians, but so many local underground comedians. I've been a student of the game. I absolutely appreciate the shit out of it. So when Cat Williams comes out and he starts dropping bombs, I'm like, hey, you keep singing to him, Cat. Amen, brother. You keep going. Like, I was like, bro, I was pumped because he was saying some real shit.
You know, the whole thing, my first initial takeaway from the Cat Williams situation was, you know, I think like you got to give like a person their flowers while they're here and their appreciation. And honestly, I like Cat Williams. I've always liked Cat Williams for like, you know, shit that he's done, but I never really took in and actually like listened and hear what the man was really saying and carrying on with. And like, it really, like, I had a different opinion on him, and it was like more positive. It's like I realized like how intelligent the brother is, right? And how intelligent, you know, how ahead of the game he really is, and how misconstrued and misguided this guy was. like throughout like the industry and how he's looked at. And
he's been misinterpreted. He's been kind of labeled the wrong way. He's been painted with the wrong brush.
And that just is again another example of the industry, like, you know, shading a lot of people that do enlighten the public, the media, the mass.
Like, not just that, but also the independent artist or the independent, whether it's in music or whether it's in comedy.
And Katt Williams definitely, you know, for his lane, he definitely is like a classic example of, you know, not fitting that industry mold or not fitting that industry, you know, circle, right. and stepping out of bounds and stepping on people's toes along the way. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is that, like, now you could see how the industry is now blackballed him. But it's funny. I feel like now, like, a lot of these media, like, entities and stuff, they're like kind of, it's like they're like gaining clout off of that too, right? It's like they're using, like, you know, his like unexpected rise to, like, you know, I guess, you know, mock him or like say like, oh, brush it off or whatever. But
yeah, like he's crazy,
exactly. Or he's angry. Right. I'm surprised with that adjective that they gave him is the fact that, oh, you know, what is it? He seems very angry or very bitter.
Yeah,
very,
like, what he's so angry about.
What is he? For me, my takeaway was I didn't think he was angry at all. I think he was like, you know, you guys have tarnished my name, you know, and shout out to Shannon Sharpe for having the balls to, like, bring him on the show and letting him just open up and voice his opinion.
Let him go off.
There was really...
I feel like he didn't really know what to say or do on the episode, and I think he played it really well because in most cases, some people would try to overtake the interview and try to get it back on track, and I felt like he did a good job of, like, he knew that Cat had like a chip on his shoulder.
I think he kind of tried
a little bit.
I think he tried at first, but then
a little bit.
I think he realized, like, there's no real, like, you know, stopping what Cat was saying.
True.
And the thing is like, I think Shannon kind of felt the same way like you and I are feeling, is that, to me, I didn't see anger. I didn't see bitterness.
He had a chip on his shoulder, but it's not anger. It's not anger.
It was more of like enlightening.
Yeah, he was like, let me clear the air. Yeah. This is my chance to speak, and finally I get to tell my side of the story.
Exactly.
Rather than like, oh, I'm going to get at these guys and I'm going to shred them down. Like, he talked some shit. Like, Katt Williams, if you watch his comedy, he's a shit talker. Like, he talks shit. Like, he's funny as fuck. He's one of the funniest comedians out there. And this is the thing is, because he hasn't put out a whole bunch of stuff recently, right? People sleep on all the stuff that he did in like the not so crazy long ago years. Like, he's put out a lot of specials. He's done a lot of comedy. He does a lot of touring. We don't get to see, because we're in Canada, so we don't really get to see Katt Williams, like, show up around here. Yeah. However, my point is that if you go back in the days, because a lot of people, like, especially in comedy, they give the flowers to all the OGs, and they'll talk about Eddie Murphy, and they'll talk about all the old skits by him, and they'll talk about Kings of Comedy and all this kind of stuff. But Katt Williams from back in the day was one of my favorite comedians, because, and especially, like, once, like, Friday comes out and, like, these kind of movies, right? Yeah. Like, when you see him in an acting role versus a stand-up comedy role, you start understanding that this guy he deserves to be a top guy.
He definitely, you know, can play the part, right? Like, with whatever part he's doing or whatever, you know, thing he's a part of. Like,
I compared him to, like, Snoop Dogg of comedy. Like, the reason why
I said
that,
he's just authentic.
But he's like a top 20 guy. Like, he's not top 5.
But he's never will be talked about as a top 5 guy, because everybody will say, oh, who's the funniest guy? Kevin Hart, or
Eddie Murphy,
or Dave Chappelle,
right? Richard Pryor. They say all these other names and all this kind of stuff.
But they'll never mention Katt Williams.
No, they won't. But same with, like, if you go top 5 rappers of all time, not many people are putting Snoop Dogg in the top 5.
Exactly.
They'll put him in the top 20 though. Snoop Dogg will get mentioned eventually as a great, but I feel the same as Katt Williams. You can't necessarily talk about the top 20. Like, you can't make that top 50 list for sure without talking about Katt Williams. So, but my point is that he's like that pimp swag. He's like OG. Yeah. He's like very well respected. When he speaks, people listen. Right. Like, as you just saw. Like, that's the most viewed podcast. It's over 30 million.
I think it was 20. I think I counted 24 million
in the first 24 hours or 48 hours or something.
It was like 22 million in, like, the first, like, 24 hours of that.
It's controversial.
Sure.
Let's be real about it. Like, I'm not saying he's wrong about what he's saying or anything like that, but it's not like he's saying a bunch of positive stuff about people and like they're getting all these views, right?
Sure.
And I'm not gonna call it ratchet, but it's just like he's speaking his truth, and the truth that he has is causing conflict between him and other people that we know, right? And because of those things, we like the juice, we like the gossip, we like the conflict.
100%.
And you know what I'm saying? So that's what's making it.
The buzzwords were there.
It doesn't mean he didn't have something good to say.
So what was like
a good podcast?
What was your like top buzzworthy thing that you can think of that you were like, whoa? Like
But before we get to that, let me just like respond to what you were just saying though, because in my opinion, everybody talks about controversial stuff. Like we're talking about controversial stuff right now, right? So
we're talking about what he said, but I mean,
but
I'm saying
my
he could
point
have
is,
came out.
yeah.
Like you guys talked about earlier. Shannon many times tried to get the interview back on track, and
Sure.
he did to a point. He started talking about his past, his history, his growing up, his issues with his family growing up, living homeless, all that stuff.
He made sure to kind of get the personal stuff.
He definitely did.
Yeah.
But he also knew that this guy came in there.
Chip on his shoulder, like
he
a
had
hit
something
piece.
to say. He had something to say.
Yeah,
so even when Shannon was tell me about your childhood. Tell me about how you grew up. And he has something to say about whatever comic or whatever.
Circling back to something else.
Hey man, when somebody has something
but my
to
point
say,
is,
let him
though,
speak.
that,
Let him
bro,
speak, bro.
Think about all the podcasts out there are always trying to hit controversy, right? And even Shay's show, even his personal show, like he's known as a platform where it's not really an interview, it's a conversation, and people come on and they do talk about controversial shit.
They do.
But this is the most viewed, especially in the shortest amount of time, podcast in a very long time, and it can't just be because it's specifically controversy. It's because of it's because it's Cat Williams saying it though.
It's Cat Williams,
and it's like it'd be like Snoop Dogg came out and did the same thing.
Okay, hold on. I'll challenge you. If any celebrity who we know has relationship with other celebrities comes out and starts dishing dirt on those celebrities, that's gonna get a lot of views.
Yeah.
Not 30 million though.
I was personally shocked. I didn't realize
the world matters, but the world matters like what you're talking about. But still,
that many people really like
gave a fuck
like that. Like 22 mil views. Like
right.
Like I remember I think like it dropped on like a Friday or something like that.
I'm not even sure, to be honest.
But whatever day it was, like my timeline was flooded. Just Cat Williams. It's like one of those ones where like it was like a Friday, and I remember I'm like, yo, I gotta watch this shit because it's like everybody and their mamas was talking about this.
How about this? The little clips and reels that you're seeing, right? Before you watched it, it was all like negative about.
100%.
I remember
like I'm not saying that you're wrong. That's the reason why it did get as many views that it did. But just my point is that it's Cat Williams who actually has these personal ties with these big name people. So when he speaks, people are listening, and they take it at face value.
And his stories sound truthful, plausible from the.
Some of them are, some of them aren't.
And my first
a lot of them are.
And my first like draw to like that whole Cat Williams thing that how it went viral was, I remember one of the first things I saw was the Ludacris freestyle, and
for like people talking
I had no idea that he was talking about Cat Williams. So I'm taking it in, just listening to the bars, and I'm like, yo, Luda's going in right now. The bars are.
That was my favorite.
I was never Illuminati. It was always the Illuminati or whatever.
Illuminati
or whatever he said. But
shout out to Ludacris, by the way.
No, Ludacris, it was too easy. It was too easy for that. But I think though, like going with that whole Cat Williams interview with Shay, and again referring to how intelligent he was. And there's two
spoken.
There's two takeaways I kind of want to point on right now. The first thing is like when you said the questions talking about his upbringing and his family.
Which was wicked that he went into detail.
It's not even.
That was like a biography. That was the point.
I like the fact that how like you said, Shannon like controlling.
He tried to.
Controlling it and putting it in that route, but he has his brought it back.
Right.
But I liked the fact. The point with that is that when Shannon asked him the question, it wasn't like Kat just blurted it out. Bullshit.
He thought about what he was going to say.
He's like, he took a second or two to just actually think about it.
What is he going to say? Right.
And it's like, when he asked him various things about, like, when he asked about, like, Nick Cannon, or he asked about, like, certain people that were along with his come up. It was like, Kat took a minute to just reflect.
Yeah.
And like, you could see it in the face. It's like he thought about it for a second.
Even the way that he answered like the Migos question.
Yeah.
It was so smart the way he said it, and like humble and all that kind of stuff.
The best questions he asked were the questions about his conflict with his dad and stuff. And
that was interesting.
But like you're saying, just out of what Gut's saying, it's something everybody should do. Think about what you're going to say.
Exactly.
True.
Take a second.
And he was like you said, it was like the people that I guess he needed to air out, or the people he needed to, I guess, speak on that level, he would. But the people that he respected and gave those flowers, he made sure that they knew he was appreciative of their
like for example, like Ice Cube, for example, right? So like I liked how, you know, he was talking about certain things, but he still gave homage to like Ice Cube and stuff like that. But I did see Ice Cube's response back, and he did kind of debunk kind of some of the stuff that Cat Williams was saying, but he also was giving him his flowers at the same time.
I watched that. He was
very respectful in the way that Ice Cube dropped his comeback. I like that.
But Ice Cube supported a lot more than what he about Ricky Smiley getting the Money Mike thing. He said all the comedians come in and read for all the parts,
and he
we decide who's gonna be.
And then he offended Ice Cube too, right?
About
the pay or some shit like that. And he was like, "Yo, get the fuck out of here!" Like, you know, like how Cube basically took care of him.
Yeah. So think about this. I mean, I think Cat Williams, if I'm not mistaken, was on Friday the second one, not the first one, right?
I think he was on next Friday.
He was on
next Friday. Next Friday's the second one.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Money Mike. That was the second one.
I think so. Yeah. Anyways,
I believe. Yeah.
I think that was the third one. But Friday after next.
That's
I think he was in. One. Was he not in both?
Okay. Either way.
No, the second one was. That was the next Friday. That was Friday. With the
other guy, the black guy.
No, the
Pinky.
Pinky.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, but watch this.
The third one was Magic Mike.
Okay, but watch this.
Money Mike.
Okay, watch this. Even if we go back
Santa Claus.
But even if we go back to the first one, right? Even if we go back to the first one, if you didn't make a lot of money from the actual movie, right? Ice Cube was paying out of his pocket because we know that the studios weren't going to support him. But also, too, it became a cult classic. What does that mean? That means if you have an interesting, memorable role, forget about Ice Cube's other movies that he made hundreds of other movies. You can get cast for other movies, right? So it's like, don't worry about the pay that you get from that. This is an audition for you for other stuff for the future. And other comedians who were on there parlayed things on Friday into either another appearance in another Friday movie or another
or a different movie completely.
Or a different movie altogether, right? So it's like
Chris Tucker, for example, like
he made so much. I was talking about this with Quinn the other day. He made so much, or he got such a big buzz from Friday the first one, right?
That's
such
3.
a big buzz from it.
No, that's 3.
He didn't have. He didn't.
There's Friday, there's next Friday, and there's Friday after next.
He didn't do a next one, right? He didn't go back to the Friday whatever for that issue, and it was so big that he got the Rush Hour, did the Rush Hour movies, and didn't do movies anymore.
Right.
That's how big. That's how big Chris Tucker got.
From Friday.
From Friday.
Right.
The second point I wanted to say from that interview, like, you know, one thing that I appreciated with the whole Cat Williams thing was that how he controlled it in a sense where, you know, I think he saw that Shannon was trying to kind of sway him or trying to sway him into not really kind of going off whatever. But I think he made Shannon feel comfortable by always using his analogies to Shannon in a football game.
Yeah.
And that was the other takeaway that I took away from it was like, yo,
no,
this
that's
guy
a good
is like,
point.
you know, he was very intelligent and psychologically to say like, you know, you're on the football field. Are you going to allow a next man on the next side to tell you how to play and they're not on your level?
Right.
It's the same thing. And like Shannon kind of like, he had no choice but to take it in and say like, yo,
you know what, you're right.
This nigga's right? Yeah. Like this guy,
let him say his piece.
Yeah, he can't really.
I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I will say this. Shannon, obviously, like I said, he had his cards, and he talked about this on his podcast with Ocho Cinco. He had his cards, and he has the conversation that he wants to have and something he wants to touch on. But when you have somebody like that who's giving you, you're not even asking a question, he's just giving you information, you got to go with that.
And you have to let the man speak. And I heard him say that to Ocho as well. Right. And he was like, and Ocho gave him his flowers too for that. He was like, bro, you handled that better than anybody could have handled it.
Exactly. And the man said too, he said, they said, I should have asked him this question and gone this direction. I'm not 60 Minutes. I'm not the hard-hitting journalist. We're having a conversation here. If you want to get
it's not an interview per se.
It's not an interview,
it's a
conversation. And he came in talking.
I didn't see the Ocho exchange, but you know, my whole thing is that I just think that it's good that Shannon kind of stood by like what he did because like you look at like, you know, let's go with like, you know, another podcast form, like, you know, you look at Drink Champs when Nori had Kanye on and Nori kind of did the same thing, like letting Kanye spew his stuff and whatever, only days later for him to be like, you know, I should have never did this, and he threw Kanye under the bus, and eventually they got the podcast taken down or whatever, right? So I'm glad that at least Shannon is kind of standing by to like say like
giving him that platform,
giving him that platform because again, you know, you take away some of the things that Kat was saying, like it's not. I didn't see anger. I didn't feel anger.
And I did not feel that.
I didn't feel bitterness. No. I didn't feel like my take from the interview. It was like more like, whoa. And it's like I looked at things like differently, especially like within the comic world where like, you know, I was like you said that you've been in, you know, the world of comedy, and like, you know, I was talking to Quinn, you know, shouts to Quincy Martin.
Yeah, it would have been cool to get him on.
Yeah, cool. But he you know, we talked about off camera here. We talked about the idea of you know, how comics are stealing jokes and comics are, you know, rot writing, and it's like he said something where comics have to actually, it has to be such a detailed type of delivery or type of joke that like people only remember that you did it, right? Like people can only remember that it's you that actually, you know, wrote that joke where it's coming from you, because it happens a lot. Like you have people that will go to shows and will teeth the best types of jokes and
it's
teeth
crazy.
the types of things.
But if you think about it, it's just like in hip hop, right? Like people recycle bars, right?
And
melodies,
and not even like Drake's obviously like a king for it. Like the guy is always doing it, right?
Melodies, lines, all that stuff.
Now, however, you know, Drake will say, "Oh, I was paying homage to that person" or whatever, right? That's what he says. Now, what happened to Cat Williams was straight up joke stealing from elite comedians.
Exactly.
Right. So that's where it becomes a weird thing. And I like how what you were just talking about there, and how and what you were saying too, and how it's like winners are not allowed to allow losers to rewrite history. That's one of the bars that Cat Williams dropped in there. Yeah. And I think that's important because he came out swinging with that. Like that was one of his first bars that he dropped. And he's talking about the guy that went on the show, the same guys we were just talking about, the Santa guy. Rick Smiley. Yeah, he's talking about him, and he's talking about also, you know, like a Dave not Dave Chappelle. It was more like a Steve Harvey. Yeah.
Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer.
Cedric the Entertainer. Thank you, Cedric the Entertainer. And so that I'd like to talk about that quick time. Like that's when you were asking earlier, like what's one of the things that really popped up for me. Like I know that was one of the earlier things that were talked about in that show, but man, like Kings of Comedy, Cedric the Entertainer, stealing a Cat Williams joke. It really
made me take a step back because I was honestly, like at the time of their hype, I was never really big into the whole Kings of Comedy thing, to be honest with you, right? Like
I watched it a bunch of times. When I was younger, I used to watch it all the time.
I would watch, you know, I would watch Comic View, and I would watch, like, you know, I'm more of like the old school, like, you know, the Eddie Murphys and like, you know, and like those kind of things, even Chris Rock.
I was big on like Robin Williams and like Adam Sandler, right? Like I was more a lot of different guys.
I was never really I was never really big on the whole, like, you know, Steve Harvey and
I loved Bernie Mac.
Bernie Mac, for sure. When it comes to like especially like his movie roles, his stand up was amazing.
His stand up was so good. Was amazing. Kings of Comedy, bro. I remember used to watching it on repeat, and like it's like vintage film at this point, right? But like,
and bro, even like so good. And like even DL, like he was like, you know, on a level too. But like after what Kat was saying and like going back and thinking about these guys and like, you know, their I guess their distaste towards Bernie, like, and Steve Harvey was never really on that level. Like when I like think back, I'm like, yo, he was never really on that level, and neither was Cedric. He was never really on that level.
No.
Of like when you compare to like him and Bernie Mac, it's like, yo, Bernie was like on like when you think about some of the roles that Bernie Mac played, some of the movies,
Did you watch the Bernie Mac show?
Yeah. Of course.
That was hilarious.
That's why I'm saying though, Bernie Mac
show was hilarious.
Bernie Mac was a staple in all that. Like he was, and that's why I liked how Cat Williams definitely was like, hey, we got to make sure that we give him his flowers still, because, you know, like even though I loved it because, and again, it goes back to his intelligence and his respectfulness and humbleness. Like he's sitting here, he's got a bone to pick with a lot of people, but he just makes sure that this black mark on all this history that's going on right now, let's make sure that we don't tarnish and make sure that we highlight and give props to a Bernie Mac.
But I did not realize though, right? Wait, let's rest in peace for Bernie Mac, for real. But I didn't realize when they brought up the Mark Curry thing, right? Again, now I can't unsee it. When Mark Curry stealing Steve Harvey's...
No, Steve Harvey
stole...
Oh, sorry, Steve Harvey stealing Mark Curry's persona and character and everything.
Crazy.
It's like,
when you see the side by side,
hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Even if you don't see
show, and then
if you watch the show, you just think about it, right? Like one was either the principal or vice principal. One was a music teacher.
Yeah.
They're both in an urban school, right? An urban thing. And yeah,
Cedric the Entertainer did the same thing.
Well, Cedric the Entertainer was in Steve Harvey's show.
I know, but he was a teacher or whatever.
But okay, we're still comparing two shows. But the point was, like, you don't have to see the side by side kills it. But just remember the shows itself. It was like one rip of the other one. He was like an urban guy in the school with like urban kids and like, you know, like trying to. He's the cool teacher, the cool one out of everybody else who's all squares and everything.
But you know what's crazy? I talked to you about it earlier. Was that, you know, sure, okay, you could look at the comparisons and you could see, and you know that could be subjective whether or not, you know, oh yeah, it's similar, whatever. It's the actual joke stealing though. It's the actual, like, I saw this one
act
reel.
Of the joke stealing.
The actual, like, stealing the joke when you hear it. It's
horrible.
Like the internet, for one, is always
relentless.
Is always undefeated.
You can't be.
You cannot hide. Like, no matter what, the internet will find you.
Everything in the dark will come to the light.
Everything in the dark will come to the light when it comes to the net.
That's
and the
100%.
thing is like, yo, people keep receipts. When it's all said and done, motherfuckers will keep receipts. And
Cat Williams had receipts.
And the thing is like I saw this one reel, and it was a joke that Mark Curry, like, I think he was on Arsenio Hall or something, and he was pretty much saying like, yo, Steve Harvey's he's a fuck that guy.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
I saw that. Yeah,
and they showed the joke about the boxes.
Yeah. And the Halloween wearing the boxes,
the
store.
And then Steve Harvey
said the exact same
joke.
thing. And the way he said it was even whack. It was
just whack or whatever.
Like,
the delivery was whack.
Because you could tell almost like he knew he was stealing the joke.
And then I don't know if you saw the Cedric the Entertainer one where he stole from
Cat Williams.
No, I didn't see that one.
I
saw the one where he stole from the designer women.
Okay.
I can't remember the joke. I can't remember the punchline of it.
I didn't see that one, but the Cat Williams one, the way he breaks it down as well, and like that's like the true joke stealing, like the art of joke stealing. Like, these guys go to the comedy clubs, like you said it earlier. They go there with like a pad and pen. They're waiting for that standing ovation type of joke, right? And like Cat Williams, the way he broke it down, he's like, that was my closer. He's like, it's a 3-minute joke to set it up, and then you just start hitting them with layers. And bro, you can't take a joke like that. Like, you can take like maybe a one-liner from somebody and get away with it, and everybody will be like, it's my one-liner, but like, whatever, I'll let you have it. But you can't take a guy's closing joke. That's like taking your best track. That's like taking Jay-Z's whatever track, like his big, you know what I mean, that big tune. Like, you can't do that.
There's a difference, though. I'm not saying you can, but what the difference is the time when he did it. The internet at the time of Comic View wasn't like
it wasn't like it is now. Thing, right? Yeah, he got away with it.
Exactly. Like 20, 25, 30 years ago when you did that stuff, there wasn't the receipt where I can pull up, see me 2 years ago in a comic club.
But it was filmed. I'm not saying it wasn't filmed. It's documented. But it's not like how the internet was back then.
But he said, joke stealing happens, and I'm sure nowadays it's way harder than it was 25, 30 years ago, because everything I shoot, I can record it myself, put it up on the internet, and then if you're at the show and you...
Well, you know what the thing is?
I have to almost disagree with that, though. And the reason why I say that is because, okay, yes, if you're on a big stage and you're a big, like...
Even if you're Kevin Hart, even if you're small, though,
but you can have your little underground comedian here that is only performing at the local clubs, and he takes from another underground comedian because he went to the States, and he's like in a Florida underground club or something like that. Nobody around here is going to catch that.
No, you're right. You're right. But a big name person could take a small person's joke, right?
True. And that happens.
And exactly. And the small person, even with music, what we're talking about before, right? And you could say, you could show your receipts. Hey, 3 years ago, I made this song with this beat.
And what was
and then you see those SoundCloud rappers.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You have those quotes up, right? Those things.
I got a bunch of quotes.
There was a comment, a quote, and just in reference to what you said about the big comedians stealing from the small comedians, where was it the thing with the Illuminati, or the thing with something is that you pretend that it doesn't happen, or it's something that's true, you pretend it doesn't happen, or was a quote like that. It's something where where it's like if
you sold your soul, if you sold your soul, let's pretend it didn't happen or something.
Yeah, something like that. And in reference to that, it's like, even if it comes out, right? Even if it comes out, because of like the way I say, 95% of the people, the mass people that are out there are fucking sheep. They believe whatever. They're never gonna sit there and, it's like Steve Harvey's not gonna lose fans per se, right? Because he's corporate.
And actually, that clip that you just showed of Steve Harvey, it goes exactly with the quote that you're talking about. Yeah. Number one job for someone who sold their soul for Hollywood is to act like it didn't happen.
That's exactly it.
And if you hear what Steve Harvey said with his comeback is, them haters gonna talk.
Yeah,
pretend like I'm not. Don't reply to it and act like it never happened.
And like he has like he has Family Feud, and he has that national like audience, and they're not gonna really like
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares at the end of the day, and that's only the real ones are gonna care, right?
That's why. That's why.
What is it? Realize, right? So it's one
back
of those
to the
ones.
rewrite history one though. The winners are not allowed to let the losers
exactly,
rewrite history.
and only the real ones are gonna know.
And I also like how Cat Williams basically kind of said that, like, Steve Harvey is not a stand-up comedian. He is not a stand-up comedian anymore. But like in general, like technically, okay, he did stand-up comedy, but he's not a stand-up comedian.
Did you
Quinn is a stand-up comedian.
I think he was. I mean,
right?
he shot a movie that was stand-up comedy, bro, and that was his tour, right? I mean, if you say he wasn't as good as other
but
people,
that's a 1 hour. That's only 1 hour. Like,
but hold on. You're telling me this guy got a movie, and this is the first time he did hot. Come on.
But that's not stand-up comedy, is my point.
It was
to have a set, bro, and to have new 1 hour sets of stand-up comedy,
I'm not saying
bro,
that.
that's an artist. That's like new albums. It's like you drop a new album every year, you're an artist. You can't drop one album, tour it one time, and then call yourself a rapper 10 years later when you haven't done another tour
what I'm saying
or
is,
another album again.
Do you think the movie was his first, like, you know, him going on stage? No, he was doing that before.
I think he was a better actor, though, than he was a comedian.
Okay, but again,
you know what, though?
Again,
Cat Williams.
But you saying that doesn't mean he's not a good stand-up.
But you got to remember, though.
No, I like his stand-up comedy,
He's not a good one. He's not a good compared.
But he only had one set.
But you got to remember, though, and Cat Williams talked on this, was the idea of the industry plants, right? And somebody like a Steve Harvey, somebody like a Kevin Hart, right? These industry plants, the industry molds, where it's like, you know, where it's like, you know, you know, this is where, you know, the industry and the mainstream media, they'll say, we want you to think that this guy is funny. We want you to listen to this guy. Okay. All the promotion, the machine, everything is going to go into this guy.
And it comes at a cost.
I'm not going to say it doesn't.
And that's the thing. And it's like, you look at it like the subject of what he's saying, like these gatekeepers that are coming in and like opening the doors for these guys to come in to have that mainstream audience, right? And like you look at it, like how it's all... You know, I mean, the same people. It's always the same people. I don't know. And the same type of rules that are doing these things, I don't know Steve Harvey's come up. I know I first saw him on... I first saw him on whatever the show... Not Hang Show. Whatever show. Steve Harvey show, right? Whatever.
But I know Kevin Hart's come up. Kevin Hart was in Paper Soldiers, and that was not put up by any studio.
And Kevin Hart is the definition also of a stand-up comedian.
Like he's a stand-up comedian. I believe a lot of what Cat Williams says, but I don't think Kevin Hart's a plant. The Hollywood didn't plant him in Paper Soldiers with state property.
Right.
That's not, you know, he had to do his own.
I have to disagree with Cat Williams on all that with Kevin Hart, because I also saw Kevin Hart's come up, and I feel like he was a true comedian, stand-up comedian who found his way. His heart was set on doing movies and TV as well. But he's a comedian. The guy was on stages nonstop. Look, he puts an hour together like every year or more.
Remember,
he's
but I think he's talking about.
Remember when Shaq was,
I'm not saying that he's not involved. Like he didn't have to pay the price to be where he's at. Maybe he did something.
Yeah. He's probably talking too, though, in reference of like writing his own jokes and actually being like, you know.
I still think he writes most of his jokes, though, because a lot of his jokes have to do with his kids and his family.
I do too.
Yeah, my 2 cents on the Kevin Hart thing, quick, is just because, and this is touching up on what you said, Specs, about him, not agreeing that he's a plant. You have to understand how this industry works. They're always watching people.
Right.
And if they find someone who's funny, talented, and can connect with people, their job is now easier, because all they have to make sure is he's able to be manipulated to do what they tell him to do.
Okay,
Dave Chappelle.
I won't disagree with that. However, what did you just say? You have to find somebody who's funny and talented.
No,
you're not.
You don't. It made it easier. It made it easier.
I mean, hey, we can say
it's necessary.
We can say you have. I believe, like, you can't just grab the guy and give him the jokes and give him the personality and give him the charisma. I don't think you can do that.
You can't, but you can grab the guy at some point in his career and say, hey, look, do you want to just be an average?
Yes, I understand that. Yeah.
Or do you want to be the next
Eddie Murphy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's at some point or another where you as an entertainer really have to. I think you at some point get approached and you get asked, you know, where you want your career to go, or the option of where you want your career to go, because you look at, you know, somebody like a Kevin Hart and some of these mainstream comedians versus guys like, you know, the Cat Williams or even the Dave Chappelles, right? Like Dave Chappelle, I think you couldn't keep a guy like Dave Chappelle quiet for as long as they have because he's so big and he's so well respected. And even with Dave Chappelle, I think like, especially with the Kanye thing and the Jews thing, I think like he teetered on that line where it's like he didn't want to say anything too offensive, but at the same time, it's like he still stood real like with it, right? He made a joke about like, he joked about how like Jews run the world and Jews run anything and you shouldn't say shit, right? And kind of like made it a joking way. But at the end of the day, it's like he's still doing his Netflix specials talking about trans people and people are trying to cancel him. They can't cancel him because they're like, yo, you can't cancel me because people love me.
But I want to go back I want to go back to what he said. So when you compare Drink Champs and Kanye to this, a little different. Why? Well, you're talking about subject matter, right? Cat Williams is talking about people in the industry.
But he did touch on that.
Cat Williams talked about people in the industry that he had problems with for the most part. He gave you the truth or his truth on
version of
relationships and things how in the industry. Kanye was talking anti-Semitic, for a better word.
But Drink Champs is known for controversy.
That's
why they get you drinking.
But it's a different reason why Nori would come out and apologize for what was said on his show, as opposed to Shannon not for his show, because the offense, the people you're offending is not the same. It's not the same offense.
Because Cat Williams,
it's also the line that was crossed. Like if it was like, once you cross certain lines, you like, as a host of a show, you kind of like almost forced to backtrack a little bit. Whereas like what Cat Williams was doing is like personal experiences. It's opinionated. And again, I thought he did it very humbly and respectfully. Like even though when he was like kind of dragging people through the mud, he wasn't like nasty about it. Like he wasn't like over about it. He didn't cross any lines in my opinion.
Certain ones.
Certain
ones got the smoke.
He dissed a little.
Certain ones got the smoke.
Where do you think he crossed any line?
He dissed a little. Steve Harvey, OBKB, the big Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head.
But you know what though?
Hold
on, it was funny. I'll laugh too, but I'm saying this. I do like going back to a little bit. I don't think he was angry, but as a person who I said I have watched Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay, and I've watched not Ricky Smiley, but I watched Steve Harvey, and I watched the Such a Good Entertainer. So he even said, Cat Williams came and said, you had these guys come in here before me. All these guys were here before me. And they never said it. So I'm going to tell you the truth. So it didn't seem like anger. It just seemed like, you guys had to hear first. Exactly. Yeah. They had their chance to say something. They didn't say anything. I'm going to let you know what the real is.
That's it.
I think though he enlightened us on the issues with Steve Harvey and what the people that are not speaking what it is, right? Again, like he spoke on like the gatekeepers and people like the losers of rewriting history per se, right?
Yeah.
Like not the real ones that are writing the history, right? So I think his distaste towards Steve Harvey or Cedric and those guys that are on, I feel like there's a bit of justification for it because it's like, here I am. I'm a real person. I'm authenticating what.
But he's also like, why am I getting skipped over? And I think it's a lot more than.
But it was not coming from a bitter kind of place. I think it's more coming like, yo, you guys need to see this.
He throws the industry plant stuff in there, right? And it's almost like when you get to a guy like Kevin Hart, right? He had nothing else to grab onto to get at Kevin Hart about because Kevin Hart did put in hard work. Like he's like, before he came to LA, he was in Philly or blah, 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 whatever, right? However, like Kevin Hart put in that work. Sure, he was mainly from
again though. I think it's more of like,
but he's saying he wore a dress, and then all of a sudden now he's gonna be.
But I think it's more of those ones where it's like
that's like being little, in my opinion. That's like being okay. I didn't have anything to get at Kevin Hart with, so I'm gonna say he's an industry plug and that he wore the dress like the other guys did.
But again though, we can only go off of opinion, right?
True,
because he can know.
More than what we know in a sense where it's like these guys aren't writing their own types of jokes, right? They're not comedians. They're just going back to what you said about those guys. But Kevin Hart, he never really said that Kevin doesn't write his own jokes.
I think it was in the same. I think it was in the same context.
And he didn't say Kevin Hart wasn't funny.
No, he never said. He never said Kevin didn't write his jokes.
He never said he wasn't funny. He said other people weren't funny.
But I mean,
he just said he's a plant.
But I mean, but again, though, it's like going on like that whole subject matter of like people wearing the dresses, these comedians wearing the dresses, right? Like talking about like, I was like shocked about the Martin story,
Right.
Like
I wasn't shocked. I was
shocked about like the Big Mama 2 where he wanted him to wear the dress. He's like, yo, get the fuck out of here. He goes, yo, you could do any other role. He already wore the dress. You can do any other role or whatever, right? And it's like and the thing that made me laugh was the Tyler Perry goes. I can't even remember the last time I seen Tyler Perry in a regular role. I started dying
when he said it's in my contract that Buddy has to wear a dress.
Yeah, I was dying. I was like,
well, how about this?
That's so much facts.
I was saying this.
That's facts.
Tyler Perry did it to himself, but I was saying this.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's how he got on, right? But I was saying this.
Overrated. The most over fucking rated actor. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't even think
that guy.
But what I'm gonna say is this: I compare Tyler Perry to RuPaul, and this is why. For years, we saw RuPaul as RuPaul. You ever see RuPaul dressed like a man?
I have.
RuPaul looks better as RuPaul. I'm sorry.
As a woman?
Yes.
That's a pause still.
Listen, no, it's
that's wild.
No, it's
a little
not.
Wild.
Because quick pause on this.
Yo, put in the comments. You think that's a pause? I think that's a real.
Okay, no, I think you need to click pause right now. Comment below what you think about this podcast. Make sure you hit subscribe and like. Okay, continue on.
Whatever. You seen this guy just like Tyler Perry. Is Medea's house this, Medea this.
So you're saying you want to see him as the
That's what I'm saying. That's
what I'm taking.
You want to see the with the
you don't need to.
Okay.
Why are we?
Anyways.
There's nothing on there. Anyways, what's on there? What's on there?
I don't know what was on there.
You're such a real. Yo, anyways, that's a rat man.
Yo, whatever. You're the one starting this.
Why are you still? Why are you still thinking about that?
You're cutting me off to some
foolishness,
guy. Anyways, as I was gonna say before you cut me off, as I was gonna say, then you see Tyler Perry go on the red carpet to promote his movie, and when he's dressed like a man, he doesn't look right. Like you look at this guy like what? This guy, what the hell? He looks shitched out. He's like this guy. You look at him, he's like, yo, you're supposed to be in a dress, guy. Because more time I see you in a dress, I can't even see you like a man, guy.
That's
straight.
Wild.
You see you like a man.
You have men's look at you and say, Doug, you need to put a dress.
Yeah, put that.
You don't look right.
Yeah, you don't look right.
He doesn't look right. He doesn't look right.
Let's keep it moving. So what I want to do right now is I'm gonna drop like a bunch of bars right now. I'm just gonna go off the top here with Cat Williams' most notable bars on this podcast. Okay, so if you didn't hear the Cat Williams things, there's a whole bunch of one-liners that he dropped and like just bombs, like such good ones, right? Sure. So first one, we already mentioned it earlier. Winners are not allowed to allow losers to rewrite history. I like that one. Beautiful bar. Rape is never funny, no matter who it happens to or what the circumstances are. And
did he do it?
Right, and that is in relation to them. Him basically saying that there was supposed to be a rape scene, and he said that he wasn't going to do it. And then Ice Cube clarified it after that there never was a rape scene, and he would have put a rape scene in the video, anyways. But anyways, keeping going.
But it was kind of like hinted though in that movie.
There was supposed to be something in the bathroom, but he said there wasn't a rape scene.
He talks about that.
He said it was supposed to be an issue in the bathroom. It's supposed to be an issue in the bathroom.
That's what I took.
Continuing on, to be confident and not delusional is a real skill, right? Right. That's about egos, right? So, number one job for someone who sold their soul for Hollywood is to act like it didn't happen. Steve Harvey, right? Race is not where the line is drawn. It's God's side and the other side. Interesting takeaway there.
That's a good line.
This is a country where we don't pay the teachers and we say the kids are the most important thing. I loved when he started talking about that because it's so real. Like that one's so real. Satan cannot create anything. That includes blessings for his people. So he's talking about all these satanic people, Illuminati people, all this kind of stuff. You can cross that line and go over to that side, but there's no blessings for you over there.
And that's
there's only like the dark side.
I think that's what his main purpose was when he was enlightening people in that sense of like, yo, like you see these guys dressing up in dresses and pushing that agenda where, it's not godly. It's not, in a sense, like
this one's another big bar that I really liked as well. Is being afraid in no way stops you from doing what you got to do.
No, it shouldn't, but it does for a lot of people. But it shouldn't.
Right, but it shouldn't.
It shouldn't, but it does.
Now, positive speaking is so important. Like positive, like self-talk and stuff. So you got to be able to tell yourself that being afraid is in no way is going to stop you from doing what you got to do.
It's okay to be afraid, but you got to keep doing. You got to have it, but it comes down to confidence.
Right, but also, like, for example, being an entrepreneur, right? You don't have a guaranteed check coming in every 2 weeks, right? So what, you're just going to give up being an entrepreneur and go get a job, right? the greatest people that have the biggest businesses in the world, had they listen to that fear in their head, they'd be working at Walmart right now, right? Yep. So the audience's opinion is the only opinion that matters, and that's real, and that's why we always shout out to you guys for commenting and all that kind of stuff below and supporting, because at the end of the day, the market is going to tell you if you're good. And that's my point with Kevin Hart as well, by the way. Is like Kevin Hart, like, oh, you could wear a dress, you could do this, you could do that, but the market is going to either watch your movie and like it, or it's not. We're either going to like you, Kevin Hart, or we're not going to like you. If you're shit, you're not going to make it through the grain, you know?
I think in some entities it's different, though, because I think sometimes, like, where your market, sure, you always want to market. It depends on the purpose of what you're doing, right? Especially, I think, like, you got to think about, like, a musician, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes when musicians, like a rapper or whoever, they may put out music just for them. Right, you look at somebody like,
but that's not going to get you
Andre 3000 last year,
right? Like,
how well did that album do though?
But I don't know. But again, he put it up for him. So who's to say that
you might like it? But
he only did that for him.
He only did that. Doesn't lie though. If it doesn't go number one, then that's not a number one. That's fine.
But he's a winner that he put it out for his own. Sure. Who's to say that, right?
And I agree with that.
So that one is
art is subjective.
Yeah, right? That's a little subjective.
And music is an art, right? Even comedy is an art and all that kind of stuff. But to his point, is that what he's talking about specifically is not just cater to the audience, but the audience is going to tell you. Like, for example, like what he was really saying too is he's like, you can't tell me a Cedric the Entertainer joke. You can't tell me a whatever joke, but you can quote my line from this. You can quote my line from that, or you can quote a Dave Chappelle line. You can quote a Dave Chappelle skit, right? Because those are memorable. They left an impact on you because they were that good. Yeah. You know what I mean? But like, certain people will never have those moments, right? And because they're just not that good, like, you know. But that's his point. I'm not saying he's right or wrong. I'm just saying
that's again, it circles back to that whole industry plan thing where it's like, you know, when you have guys like the Steve Harveys and the Kevin Harts and Cedric Entertainers, it's like they have the machine to say, this guy's funny. Yeah, this is the guy that you need to laugh at, and people are so stupid to be like, yeah, you know, like, oh, he's hilarious. Like, people will pay more attention to Steve Harvey telling these little cracked up jokes on Family Feud, yeah, versus, you know, whatever Kevin Hart whatever Cat Williams will put up.
Even Kevin Hart,
whatever, right? But,
and they put their heart and soul into like a 1 hour comedy skit, but Steve Harvey's there just doing like a like a little chuckle thing,
like a
and people laugh about it, right?
Like a little, yeah.
So I mean, it goes back to what you were saying. It's all subjective. It's all art. But the Cat Williams thing overall was a lot of bombs being dropped, a lot of topics in there, calling out so many different people, so many buzzwords.
3 hours well invested.
I think he told the truth, bro. I think like he said,
he told his truth.
He told the truth as far as he sees it, and in some situations he was there because he said, you let Ricky Smiley come here, you let Cedric Entertainer come here, you let Steve Harvey come here, and they all spoke about these things, but they didn't tell you the truth about these things. I'm gonna tell you the truth about these things. Why he's on TV and not doing movies? Why he's have to be in a dress and not thing?
You know what the crazy takeaway is though? I think the majority of the people, I mean, I know you had like Ludacris speaking out, and you know, you had a couple other people like speaking out against it and on their feelings, etc. But I think for the most part, I think people somewhat agreed with him.
Oh yeah,
I think the people that did agree with him or that were on his side, I think they just kind of like, they're not saying anything.
The only thing that I seen that was really debunked was Ice Cube talking about how Ricky Smiley did actually try out for the part or whatever. Yeah, that was it. But in no time was he gonna be that part. He just like Ice Cube. But so Ice Cube just kind of cleared the air a little bit. But Cat Williams was a little off on like that part of it or whatever. I liked how Bernie Mac's daughter went out and was kind of like, thank you, Cat Williams. You know, I really appreciate you, you know, honoring my dad and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't see that response.
But anyways, a lot of cool stuff, a lot of you know, positive things, negative things, you know, that came from it. I think overall, to be honest, like I said, like you said, like he spoke his truth. He said his side of the story. It's out there now.
Did you?
And I rate Cat Williams. I believe him.
I believe most.
Did you see who he's going on tour with? Do you see who's going on tour with? Cat Williams?
Is it Kevin Hart's ex-wife? Yeah, that's crazy.
That's pretty.
So enough with the drama report for today. You know, I appreciate you guys for kind of having good opinions on it. It would have been great to bring Quinn the comic on to get a comedian side of it, because the joke stealing is a big thing, and I don't rate any comedians out there that are stealing, even bar thieves, like, you know, in the music world. Like, stay away from it. Like, you know, it's just be original. I know you sometimes you have to recycle certain things because it is what it is. But speaking about music, let's get into some local Canadian hip hop.
For sure, but let me just ask this one question before we get all into this.
Okay.
Because it's in relation to the music. Can you respect a comedian who has his jokes written for him, who has, you know, his everything presented to him, in the same sense of, can you respect an MC who has ghostwriters?
You want to answer first, or you want me to go?
I think you answer your own question. If you say it got given to him, if it got given to him, you respect that?
But how do we know how much of that impact or how much of that joke was given him?
I have no idea.
Because we say, let's use the example of Drake. All right, let's talk about Drake. Right, you know, a lot of people have accused him of using ghostwriters and stuff like that. But what do you consider ghostwriting? Do you consider ghostwriting where it's like, you know, you hear a track and, you know, you know, just basically take whatever this person gives and then you go ahead and you take the guide and you go ahead and do the exact same thing and change it up? Or if, let's say, like, you're in the studio and, like, you know, you have like 4 or 5 writers that are like, oh, say this, you should say that, you should say that. And, or maybe like you've written like your bars and somebody comes and says, like, you know what, you should change it and say this instead and say that. Like, how much, what do you consider ghostwriting? What do you not? Because you got to look at it though. Like, you got to look at it. Let's go back to the music, right? If we're talking about, okay, we're not going to put comics on that level, of that plateau. So then, like, the same thing with the music, with ghostwriters. Are we putting Drake on that level? Are we putting Kanye on that level of when it comes to, like the music and everything? Are we putting Dr. Dre?
I'm going to say this much. You know? It depends on what you're saying. I'm going to take your question face value. If it was given to you, then you're not doing anything because it's given to you. You came in, they said, hey, come here at 3 o'clock. Oh, you got here at 3 o'clock? Okay, here. So we have this new song for you. Read this. It's given to you, just like your jokes. Oh, you have a 45-minute Netflix special? Come in, we got 45 minutes of jokes for you. Just read these. That's given to you. If it's the different scenarios like you're saying, you have it written, then you go and bring it to somebody or you show somebody and they say, hey, tweak this, tweak that, whatever. It's a different story. If you're sitting down and writing it with somebody, that's a different thing too. And the only thing I can say is I don't know which one it is, right? I don't know, out of those 3 scenarios or another scenario, I don't know which one it is. But I will say, if you're giving it and you're not... If you're getting a little help with what you're doing, that's a different story. Cat Williams himself said he had a joke with Mark, and Mark Curry helped him make it better.
Reform it or reframe it.
But he made his own joke, and he had somebody else help him. So, for instance, if I have a song, and I'm coming in and I spit it, and then you're like, oh, hey, you know what? We
change this, tweak this bar.
Yeah. That's
sing it with a different melody a little bit.
Exactly. That's still you're helping.
My take on it.
Give it to me, say, hey, here's a song, go in again and spit it.
My take on it is like this. I think in the comedy world and in the hip hop world, it's 2 different things, right? For example, you're talking about hip hop specifically, but if you look in the country world or you look in the rock world, a lot of the classics are written for them, right? Or redone. Like a lot of, like, even like the Beatles, for example, they redid a lot of songs. But it's respected differently in those worlds. And in comedy, I feel like having written work for you, it's respected a little bit differently. But as a comedian or as somebody that's like an avid, you know, fan of comedy, you're going to respect the guy that writes his jokes, like the majority of his jokes. Like you said, a tweak's a tweak. But you're going to respect the guy that writes his joke more than you're going to respect the guy that has, you know, that his jokes are written for him, even though the guy that his jokes are written for him, he could still be a top comedian. He could still be rated as a top comedian to the world, but maybe not in the comedian circle.
I'm gonna say this.
That's my opinion.
I'll say this opinion. We can move on after this, but I'm gonna say this one thing. I think people need to know what the difference is of a comedian, an actual definition, or a true comedian versus an entertainer.
For sure, that's and also stand-up comedian versus like a comedy actor. That's
what I mean. Again, it's the same idea of entertainer and a comedian. It's like, you know, a lyricist and a rapper. You know, it's the same. It's
Agreed.
the same.
That's why I don't put Drake on the same regard. Like when it comes to that,
an artist and a lyricist.
How about I give you this? How about I give you this?
But he is a lyricist too.
How about I give you this? How about I give you this?
Yeah.
One of the greatest comedic actors of all time was not a stand-up comedian. Who was he? We all watched the show.
You're saying one of the Greatest.
Al
Bundy.
He was found.
He was a stand-up comedian.
He was found doing class. He was found doing a classical
Broadway.
Broadway, yeah, but he was also a stand-up comedian.
I never
He did do stand-up. He did do stand-up. I've seen him stand up.
I never heard about that.
Yeah.
The guy, he told a story.
I did not know that.
He told
He wasn't like he wasn't. He didn't
I
come
think
up.
Hollywood's fact checking.
He told. Hold on. He told.
Please do it.
Fact check. He told a story. Ed O'Neill said the guy who casting director who found him for Married with Children found him doing not Broadway but like a thing.
I saw that story.
And he said they already had the peg, but they wanted to read for. They had a guy read for it with peg. It wasn't so great, and then the casting director said, "Oh, I saw this guy do what was it like Catcher in the Rye or some shit? Mice and Men. There you go, Mice and Men. You're right.
Very good movie.
Play.
So
movie too. Yeah.
Ed O'Neill, like he didn't come up off of like he wasn't found per se off of stand-up comedy, but he did do stand-up comedy. I've seen the videotaped versions of his like stand-up comedy in the past. But needless to say,
sounds like you're making it up. Personally.
No, you can find it. It's probably not going to be on like his IMDb.
I don't know.
Like I said, it's not like he's not a stand-up comedian. Like he didn't have specials per se, right? But he did bits, right? It's almost like Bob Saget, for example.
Yes.
He was a stand-up comedian.
I did, but I see, and I heard Bob Saget I heard he was very like vulgar compared
compared
to
Full
House.
Danny Tanner.
Yeah, Danny
Tanner.
Right, but you're not going to necessarily know him as a stand-up comedian. Some people do, though, for sure, because he really was a stand-up
Okay, so
comedian.
hold on. I don't want to take too much time. But go back to what you said before. So if he did stand up like one time and then got
like he wasn't a stand-up comedian.
Come on, like Steve Harvey, but Steve Harvey to get that movie, he had to be doing stand up for a while. I'm sure he didn't do one.
What movie was Steve Harvey in?
Not movie, not the Kings of Comedy movie. Like I'm saying, to get
that wasn't a movie.
Kinda, it was a special,
movie.
But it almost was a movie.
What I'm saying,
because like, bro, this comes down to like.
I never watched it, but
Steve Harvey probably had his jokes written for him.
Okay, but what I'm saying,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Is to get that. You think he just did one night in one comedy? Somebody saw him say, "Hey, let's do a whole 2 hours." No, he had to be doing stand up before.
Well, listen. All I'm saying is, but you could be a funny character, and they use the tag of it. Oh, you're a comedian, comedian, whatever. Just because you cracked the 1-2 jokes, or you're on a 1-2 stage like that, whatever, right? Like you gotta. I just feel like I've never seen a Steve Harvey like stand-up comedian like thing.
Comedy he saw it has been out there.
Nothing that was like memorable to me. Where it's like, this guy
memorable to you means it wasn't good to you, but doesn't mean he wasn't a stand-up comedian.
If you go watch, you need to watch Kings of Comedy. You'll have a new respect for that.
You know how many? Hold on. You know how many rap acts we go see who are good rappers? We can't say they're not rappers.
I'm just saying though, like
but
I think the term comedian can be so loosely based. Just because a person's funny and a person has character and can act, they can't tag that comedian line on there. That's why I say that you need to. I think people need to understand the difference between a comedian and an entertainer.
Okay.
Right? And I think that a lot of times like people just put that tag because you're funny.
Okay.
Or because like, oh, you crack a 1-2 joke, and because now
I have a simple question. Do you consider Steve Harvey a stand-up comedian?
Do I consider him a stand-up comedian?
Yeah.
No.
Anymore or never?
Never.
Okay. That's all right.
And it's funny because even though he did stand-up comedy, I'm on the same. But let's get into it.
But it's like, but again, though, it's about the longevity, right?
He did it.
That's what I mean. He did it, but that doesn't mean he is.
Yeah, no, he's not. If he's not good, if you don't like him, if you're not good as somebody else.
Ed O'Neill did it. Is he a stand-up comedian?
But Ed O'Neill didn't do it like how.
No, but he never did it. But he never did it on that plateau. Sure, but I'm saying though, right? Like, is he a stand-up comedian? Like
to me, no. But like he's done it, so like you could consider that.
See, I'm not gonna say one off is one, but I'm gonna say, like I said, simply. I don't think he got approached to shoot this special.
But it wasn't like Steve Harvey also only did one stand-up comedy. He didn't only do Kings of Comedy. There was stand-up comedy career there.
But you're the one saying he did not stand-up comedian.
But my point is that he stepped away from it and he stopped doing it.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Anymore.
All right, but let me ask you this.
Was he ever a stand-up comedian?
You
said no.
Can you consider him right now a stand-up comedian?
No, not right now, but ever. Did you ever consider him a stand-up comedian?
Okay, so in your humble opinion.
He just said that.
In your humble opinion.
He said no, I said yes.
In your humble opinion, I'm even going to say, in your humble opinion, top 10. Put in the comments right now. Top 10. Steve Harvey?
No, but it's not a question.
Top 15?
But that's not the question. If
he's not even in my top fucking 20, bro. He's not.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to say
that. Listen. The bench player who doesn't play any minutes is still an NBA player. He
right.
Might not be an NBA player to you. But he's still he has a uniform. He gets paid.
He gets a ring if the team wins.
What are you telling me, bro? Like, what are you saying, bro? I don't understand. What are you saying, guy?
What am I saying?
What are you saying, guy?
I'm just saying.
Yo, can we move on to the songs?
If you don't like him,
All right,
if you
no
don't
songs
like him,
tonight.
if you don't
Ladies
rate him,
and
that's
gentlemen,
fine. But
I
he's a
wanted to do
stand-up
songs.
comedian.
I don't think that was what his build-up was.
You keep calling him a stand-up comedian.
I don't believe he
He's
was
not,
built up off.
not anymore.
I think he was more of an actor or
Hold on,
more
hold on,
of
hold on,
like
hold on.
in a funny. He was an
is
actor in
Michael
a
Jordan
funny
an
role.
NBA basketball
Hold on,
player?
yes, not anymore. Not anymore.
Right.
You
That's my
do
point.
know.
He's not.
You do know that Kings of Comedy came after Steve Harvey show, right?
Right.
After the sitcom, right? Okay. How do you think he got the sitcom?
From doing stand-up.
Oh, so let's just say again, he's not a stand-up comedian. Okay. Let's go, man.
Let's
Let's go, man.
Let's put in the comments.
man.
Let's see.
Go, man.
Let me see what y'all think.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Specs will calm down by that time.
Go,
you know,
man.
he's
I hear
a
what you're
little
saying. I
angry
hear what
right
you're saying.
now.
He
He
might
was.
be right
He
now.
was.
You know,
That's why.
I don't
If you say he
follow
was a
his
stand-up
opinion,
comedian,
so
I'm
he's
with you
getting all
all day.
mad.
He's probably right now, but
Let's get into the songs.
He
man.
was a stand-up
he was
comedian.
a comedian.
Let's get into the songs right
So,
now, man.
Please, let's get into the songs. All right.
Comment below what you think, man.
Yeah, because we want to know everyone's opinion. So, continuing on, we're going to get into these songs. So, the way it goes, obviously, every week we try to do this, and we listen to some local Canadian hip-hop underground music. It doesn't have to just be Canadian, but essentially we try to keep it Canadian as much as possible.
Artists, man, make sure you send in your shit, bro.
Shout out to all the artists that have been sending in
Yeah,
their
man.
stuff. We got a lot of new recent stuff right now. We got stuff from Mark Jordan. We got stuff from B1 the Architect. We got a few different things that we're gonna listen to.
B1's a regular.
And the way that we rock it is we play one hook, one verse, then we give it our opinion. We rate it out of 5 mics, and we keep it pushing. So let's jump into it right now.
Yeah,
We're gonna
let's
do
go.
the first track. We got "Let 'Em Know" by Mark Jordan. Shout out to Mark Jordan.
Marky.
It's Marky.
It's Marky.
Yeah, I swear he's been on the most like songs. Almost every week we have a Mark Jordan.
No.
I feel like we haven't
Almost
had one this whole season.
Every week,
Almost
Mark Jordan.
every week. I said almost every week.
I went all in on my stock, they buy and put options. Told my wife when I drop, skip the wood copping. Schizophrenic brain, all I hear is the hood talking. Who's up and who's not got lit up while the block watched it. 2023 been a hot topic. Truthfully, I don't know a person who not copping. Organic, not GMO, non-toxic. Straight rock, already pressed, all profit. If you ain't in
Still a
money,
song.
re-strategize your conduct. Offer a better bargain or go level up your product. Different type of time, ain't flipping narcotics. But if I schedule one, I can say that I got it. Toronto politicking and bitching, now Mark on hell nah. Those cats from Vaughan, Mississauga, or Markham. Been straight to the job, like it's piecework. Get GoFundMe to put on a rest in peace shirt. You can see me with my bros. We be in VIP, we be here to get the dough. We be here to let them know. 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 You can see me with my bros. We be in VIP, we be here to get the dough. We be here to let them know. 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 These rap.
All right. So there it is, Mark Jordan. Let him know. First time that we've had a Mark Jordan track.
First time we've heard a verse from Mark Jordan.
Maybe you heard a verse. Maybe that might be true.
No, yeah.
Maybe
First time we heard a verse.
He's been on the song. But he's been on
There's
the
been
song.
a track that we played, one track so far this season that Mark was featured on, but we didn't quite get to hear it. And Specs was really upset, actually.
No, I think I was the one that was upset about it.
No, Specs was it was Specs. See
Was
how
it
he tries to take
Specs?
your shine all the time,
I think
Specs?
it was me. I was the one that said play the Mark
Listen,
Jordan
I don't
verse.
want to walk off the show
And
again.
everyone was like, no,
Okay, so let's-
it's only one song. And I'm like, yo, it's not even his verse. Yo, let's play, it's his song.
It is.
I remember, and I was quarreling, and then we had a
Yeah,
debate. And
it was.
I remember we like had a vote and some shit. I don't even know, man. Fuck
Who
that
told Marky
shit.
to go second? Nobody. He told him to go second. Nobody.
All right, let's get it.
Anyways,
Let's get it.
yo,
We're gonna start off with Specs Don. Let's go. What you got?
I was liking
to
the
say?
track. I was feeling the track. Trust me, listen. I got nothing much to say. Mark Jordan puts a level on this stuff. He's a quality MC.
Yeah.
When you hear him, he comes in like Cat's name before B1 Lotus, Mike Guts. There's a certain quality you hear when you hear this guy, and he always hits that quality or goes above it, and that's all like dope Mark Jordan-ish to me. I don't know if there's was there somebody on the collab?
No.
Well then, anyways, I was feeling him. I give it a solid 4, man.
Oh, yeah.
Solid 4.
Solid
I like
4.
that. I like that.
Solid 4.
Yeah, it's a new rating. It's a new rating. It's a solid 4. All right.
Yeah, man. Yo, I'm gonna echo most of the shit that you were saying. Yeah, for sure. I like the hook. I'm just glad that Marky's back in the fold, man. Like,
Fact.
shout out to Marky.
Freedom is a must.
you know, I always say, like, I always give this guy's flowers, man. If you've never been in a recording session with Mark Jordan, like, holy shit, it's crazy. Like, when we did Time Served, like, this guy dropped, I swear it was like 10 songs in one session, like one time. And this was right before he went in. It was like 10, 11 songs. He just boom, 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 right after the other. And he wrote all of his verses on the spot. It was not like he came like, oh, I have a book and I can put this generic verse on this beat. And, you know, but yeah, he's always on point when it comes to the cadence, delivery, beat selection, which I feel is very important. And he's never lazy with the bars. I'm gonna give that one though. I'm gonna give that one like a solid. I'm gonna give that one a solid 4 as well. I'm gonna give that one a nice solid 4.
And honestly, I don't have much else to say because you guys both like, especially Gus, just really like kind of unpacked the whole thing there, like from the cadence, the flow, the lyricism, the beat selection, like you guys are talking about. You know, it's hard not to give him at least a 4. I think like it wasn't his hardest track I ever heard from Mark Jordan, but like you said, it's super refreshing to hear Mark back. Yeah. Love everything the guy puts out. One of my favorite videos I ever made, directed, whatever, ever is O Negative that I did with.
I was so jealous.
Such a sick video.
I was so jealous because it's like you made that around the same time you made For My City.
Okay.
And I love For My City. Don't get it twisted. I love
video.
what you did for it.
Yeah.
But then when I saw what you did for O Negative, it was one of those ones where I was like, I looked at you like, motherfucker.
You know what's crazy? The
like
funniest thing about that.
motherfucker moments. I was like, how come his looks like mine looks good, but his looks better? It's like one of those.
The craziest part about that video, the O Negative video, is we pulled up to his crib, we shot it in his apartment, we brought a portable backdrop kit, we threw the green screen up behind him, we shot it in like fucking 15 minutes, and it's one of the best fucking videos. Like, it's such a good video.
We wouldn't know anything that you didn't tell us, guys. So,
but anyways,
you didn't tell us.
I'm gonna give it a 4 as well. I'm gonna mimic what you guys said, and let's keep pushing here. Shout out to Mark Jordan. All right, so now we're on to a next. Now this is a recurring guy. This is a guy we're seeing all the time. B1 the Architect.
I swear we've seen this song already. No, I don't know. This guy is always dropping. Shout out to B1. This guy's the most consistent.
Apparently he's dropping 3 tracks a week or something like that. You guys need to go check him out. We do only do 1 hook and 1 verse, and he's got Nate Skulls on this Spade and Lizeppo. So I don't know who we're gonna get in the first little bit here, but shout out to B1. Keep doing what you're doing. You're absolutely crushing it, brother. And keep sending us music, and we'll keep playing that. So let's go. Sky Falling, B1 the Architect.
Cause y'all can never break me. Stare back at my demons like y'all can never take me. Forever crazy, the world's getting worse again. But I'll forever possess that endless thirst to win. Excessive hurt I felt propelled me, I used as fuel. Grown immeasurably ahead of what I used to do. Old friends distance themselves, hell is mutual. Acceptance of the man I've become, but y'all ain't used to truth. I blew the fuse and now the door's open. And I'm approaching with more on my mind, eyes looking through the scope. Just hoping one of y'all goes and pushes me. It's scared to get dirty, none of my gloves are looking clean. Ain't no love in this industry, shit's a fake circus. Ain't a single thing you getting that you ain't purchased. I love the music, but I'm telling y'all the fame's worthless. The way we rapping got everyone in the game nervous.
No seats left at the table, no company for your misery. Turn the pain to productivity. Nightmares within my living dreams. Gotta keep my eyes open, niggas are scheming. Your tape, it was weak as fuck. Replacement for sounds of the rainforest, bro, I stay snoring. Waging war, killing MCs for sport. Spirit colors matching the wall.
Shout out to Nate Skulls too there.
Yo, Nate Skulls is dirty,
bro. Guy's
bro.
Animal, bro.
Nate Skulls is dirty.
What's wrong with this guy?
Yo, it's me, right?
Yeah, that's on you.
Yo, we got lucky listening to a little snippet of like what Nate could do. Yo, Nate's nasty. Yo, shout out to Nate Skulls, fucking 420
That
click.
voice though.
Yo, he's
just unique as fuck.
Oh my
bro.
god,
He's so
he's just on another level, bro.
Agreed.
But like when you watch him perform too, like yeah. But yeah, man, B1 again. He's like Jordan, and it's like he's one of those ones where it's like consistency, right? That's the thing with a lot of artists is that what they lack, and not just the local cast. It's like even just in general, right? That's a real like quality trait to have is the consistency that you're putting out record after record after record and dope record after record. I think with B1 his average is like one of the best that's out there when it comes to, you know, dropping the types of songs that he does, the lyrics. Like he's comfortable in his lane. He's comfortable in what he does, and he's you know, he's never fallen short of that, like you said, that expectation of like what you think or what you want as an artist, you know, what you want to hear, like for what I want to hear at least, right? I'm gonna give that a solid 4.5, solid 4.5.
Nice.
I love the beat. I like the beat. I didn't love the beat per se. I you know what I'm saying? Like I thought the beat was good. I thought it was grungy for what it was. I think it was one of those ones where I think the bars did more justice for it. It kept
the beat.
Than the beat, in my opinion.
They carried the beat.
They carried the beat. It's not the beat was saying the beat was shit, but their verses and flow to it made the beat, brought life to the beat.
Right.
So I didn't like necessarily love it per se, but I thought it was
4.5. That was a
but a
high
4.5 just off the bars, and it was like, and I'm kind of biased because one, I'm a big B1 fan, and two, I got to hear half of the Nate Skulls verse. So I'm gonna give that a 4.5.
So I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna mimic obviously some of the stuff you said. It's funny that you made that comparison with Mark because I do feel like that, and what I mean by that is the consistency. The pen game, the importance of the pen game. They're both lyricists, and then both have like these like the flow and the cadence very consistent as well, and they're both flows and cadences that I really like. And any artist that takes pride in their pen game and their delivery, I got to give them credit for it, right? Definitely wasn't a big fan of the beat. Honestly, as soon as the beat started, I thought it was going to be like sick, and then it's kind of lost me. It was a little slow or whatever, so it wasn't my favorite beat. But I 100% agree with you. They painted the picture over that beat. They went Picasso on it, and I do wish I listened to the whole track. And it's a shame that we don't listen to the whole track, right? but you know, end of the day, dope record. Shout out to you guys, and I'm gonna give that a 4 as well.
4.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like the track. I like it. I like everything you guys are saying about it. The one thing is, though, I really wasn't feeling the beat. Like, it wasn't terrible, but these guys definitely overshined the beat. It didn't, it's not a situation that the beat is going to necessarily we get a low score, but they definitely, like, it just reminded me of, like, Cannabis's first album. Like, lyrics killing it, and the beat's
just trash.
Beats just decent enough. Right, just decent enough for you to, you know.
Yeah, I didn't think the beat was trash.
Yeah, I think it was trash, but
wasn't for me.
It didn't stand out to me at all, right? But again, lyrics overpowered the beat and took it over, made it better. I'm gonna give it a 4. It's simple for me. I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Was that B1 starting or was it?
Yeah,
that was B1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Zeppo has a totally different cadence.
I don't know. I never heard of it.
Oh, okay, yeah. You gotta listen to Zeppo too. That's a stacked track. I want to hear that.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to the next one. We got Samson on the beat.
Talking about Samson.
Talking about Samson, yeah. So shout out to Samson for continuously sending us some stuff. I know we've probably reviewed some stuff from Samson before. I believe Samson makes the beats, or he actually raps on the tracks too. We're gonna find out. But this one's called the Genghis Khan and on freestyle. Okay. IQ and known the known.
All right, Cod.
Non the non.
If it's a fight you want, it's a fight you'll get. Ha! They call me IQ, but I'm a far cry from a smart guy. Learning life the hard way, you could say I didn't start wise. We all start somewhere, hoping somewhere nice with dark skies. I'm humble in my rumble, why they love me on the dark side. Sometimes I'm like a hip-hop Oscar the Grouch. Kicking raps up in my trash can and I'm kicking you out. You fuck with Snuffleupagus and you'll get punched in the mouth. You'll have a PBS posse right outside of your house. I'm only kidding, this ain't kid shit. I really hope they didn't listen to the sickness that I'm spitting. But getting all your children just to listen is the mission. Put a bug inside their ear, hope it latches when the kids and sets and tosses on the beat. I'm shouting out, let's get it on. I say like Genghis Khan, leave rappers heads up on the lawn. I kill like every beat I'm on, my sense and thoughts on what I want. Get all the features that I'm on, and it goes on and on and on. Woo!
It goes on and on and on. Yeah, it goes on and on and on. Motherfucker, it goes on and on and on. But check this. Oh shit, what was that in the middle of it?
That's it.
All right, so it's on me, eh?
Yeah, man.
Wow, you guys get to start off with like some bangers, and then I get this one.
Wow.
Wow. Can I tell you what score he's gonna make? Can I tell you what score?
This is one of those ones. This is one of those ones, just like the Dre Specs ones. It's like as soon as I heard it, I'm like, I know what Dan's gonna say.
Oh,
I know where Dan's going with this one.
Listen, guys.
Go ahead.
I'm not a hater, by the way.
I already know it.
You guys know I'm not a hater. I'm just an honest feedbacker. I don't know if that's a thing. So, first of all,
we gotta pause for that.
Beat was kind of like the beat was a little. I don't know. It's kind of sounded like a freestyle beat. Like if I would have heard the beat just the instrumental by itself and we were all just chilling, I probably would have rapped over it and it would have been fun to rap on.
But
That's
wasn't it called Genghis Kong Freestyle?
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like a freestyle.
Maybe it serves the
beat.
purpose.
So I mean, I'm not gonna knock scores on the beat per se, but the guy spitting, like I gotta say, like he tried. He did his thing. Like he tried. I'm not gonna say that. Like he tried to put together some lyrics and stuff like that. Just didn't quite hit for me. Like they didn't connect. You know, it didn't connect the dots.
Trademark.
All rights reserved.
Like that, trademark.
But no, I think overall sounded a little amateur to me, and could have been better on the delivery. I feel like it sounded very like the guy was like from the fucking 80s somehow, but he's like he just made the track last week. So I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
I was right.
What did you say?
I was right. You all know I was right. Anyways,
what?
I'll tell you this much. We have the luxury of seeing the video. There was a video that went along with it.
True.
It had animation in it. It also had the lyrics on the screen. And I'm not gonna lie, that for me gave it a little bit of a higher score. I'm gonna echo much of what Dan said. I don't want to diss. I just want to be real. It didn't sound. The production quality didn't sound that high. Again, even like just mixed mastering didn't sound top notch. You know what I'm saying? It could have been done a little better. The beat, it might have been like a freestyle type beat. It kind of sounded like they freestyled on it. Not what they said, but how it was recorded. Like it just, to use Mr. Bentham's word, is a kind of amateurish, right? And that's the kind of the feeling I got from it. The video gave it a little bit more pizzazz for me because the video has some interesting and some kind of entertaining parts. So I'll give it a 3.
Okay. I kind of want to, I agree with basically what you said and what you said as well. In terms, I thought you were going to mention the production. I know that you're huge on that. It's listening to the production of a song.
That's what I meant by amateur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But you mentioned it, right? Because I was going to speak on that too. And I think that's what's key with artists. Like, one thing is that your production, your end quality, your end game, like it can either make or break in terms of like, how somebody will take in your music. You know what I'm saying? And even if it's a freestyle or even if it's something where it's just a one-off single or it's a dub or whatever it is, I think, that piece is important, because if you're saying, okay, let me listen to your song, right? If I'm like, if I'm an A&R, or if I'm a guy that's, this is going to be your song that I'm going to pay attention to or to sign you or whatever, and you're coming to me with this, it's like, it's not clean. It's not clean enough for me, right? I wasn't a fan of the beat. I wasn't a fan of the hook, per se. Kind of what you said, too. I like the video, the lyric video, it helped. It definitely helped.
If there wasn't no lyric video, it would have been.
Yeah, I would have probably been leaning more on giving it the 2.5. But the lyric video helped. I'm going to give it a 3 conditionally. To be honest with you.
What's the condition?
No, it's a condition.
What's the condition?
It's a conditional 3 because it's in between. It's just in between that halfway between 2.5 and 3. So 2.7. But it's just over that halfway to give it that 3.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, when you get like a 50%, or you get a 45%, but a teacher can bump you up to a 50 or drop you to a 40. It's one of those ones. So that's why and there's the lyric video that did it for me. But I it's not to say it was shit. No. I just think I appreciate the effort and the what they were trying to do. But I just think, like you were saying, Dan, it was the production threw it off. Yeah. Where it was hard to kind of fathom, like, everything.
And I think, like I said, I wasn't a fan of the beat producing, but if it was post-produced and mixed and mastered better at a better quality, it would have been easier.
I probably would have given it a higher mark.
Think about this, right? We've all watched movies, all these kind of things. If you go watch a movie that looks like it's shot on like a flip phone camera, you're probably gonna turn that right off right away.
Blair Witch Project, one of the biggest movies ever.
Which one? Blair Witch? What year did that come out?
I hated that movie.
Hold on.
Fucking hated that movie.
That movie gave me a headache. Hold on. But that didn't come out when we already had HD TVs. That came out with
it did. Yeah. But they did that on purpose. And the reason why they filmed it that way is to make it look like it was real life.
Okay.
And then you find out at the very end, or actually find out at the very beginning that it's fake. But my point to that is that movie was actually very well produced. It was shot under low budget, but it was edited very well and scored amazingly.
I'm just commenting on the fact that if it wasn't like I said, the way it was shot. I mean, like you guys were saying, if it was shot on a flip phone.
I was saying that, but yeah.
Or sorry.
Yeah.
That's the reason why
I got you.
Yeah.
I just meant the production level on that is actually
okay. I'll give you that.
more expensive than what people
I'll give you
thought.
that. What Dan said, right? I'll give you that. What Dan said though, because it was edited well. The picture might not have was edited well, so it looked right. Like it looked some people.
It was one of the best movies of that time.
That shit was trash.
I never watched it. I'm not gonna lie. I never watched it.
It was horrible.
I never watched it. I don't like that shaky camera.
I watched that movie one time and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yo, if you like Blair Witch, comment below. If you didn't like Blair Witch, hit the like button.
Trash.
So yo, Scheme the Best Killer.
Beat
Killer.
Oh,
the Beat Killer.
Scheme the Beat Killer. In my bag, featuring Swifty McVeigh.
Oh,
that's pretty cool. Official animated video. Can you see who made the video? Just for is it Baked Clown? If you hit more on the bottom left. Yeah, is it Baked Clown? Oh, sick! Shout out to Baked Clown. That's Nathan. Yo, this guy's nasty with it. He makes really cool cartoon videos. If you guys need animated cartoon, Baked Clown. His name.
You know him?
Yeah. I have his link. I can send you his link. Yeah,
send it.
All right, so let's get into this. Let's hear what we got here with In My Bag featuring Swifty McVeigh, Scheme the Beat Killer.
Did he do Maloney's? I mean, animated video?
Yeah. Y'all weirdos keep y'all distance, man. Stay over there with that fuck shit. RDF in this motherfucker right now, huh? The beat killer hoe. I'ma set it off in this motherfucker like this.
Yeah, I've been feeling brand new. Just like when you step in a new pair of shoes. And you got the fit that can go with it too. You saying fuck me? Nah, bitch, fuck you. Inspired by millionaires, drug dealers, and high rollers. Around the corner, it's crackheads and chain smokers. Put in 100%, you gotta work harder. Use your brain, dummy, gotta work smarter. You got these leeches reaching, beaking, chatting. Claim to be active on some street shit. Knowing in reality that they never be shit. I'm kicking game now, yeah, yo, peep this. Moving silence, I've been practicing stealth. Smoke that top shelf, it help with the mental health. You thinking you gon' play me? Stick a quarter in your ass, motherfucker, cause you playing yourself. I'm in my bag right now, yeah. Feeling new and improved. I don't care on what they talking, what they saying, cuz I just do what I do.
4 bars.
Yeah, I'm in my bag right now, yeah. Feeling new and improved. I don't care on what they talking, what they saying, cuz I just do what I do.
The hooligans back.
First he tries to sneak the verse, and then he's like, yeah. That's good enough.
Must be here all night.
If that was Nate Skulls, this guy was like, no, keep it running.
What did I tell you,
That's
bro?
on
You
you,
gotta, within the first, you have 2 lines.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? You have 2 lines.
So I feel about the song, to be honest. I'm
Right
sorry,
away, bro, you have 2 lines.
So I feel about the song, to be honest. I'm sorry, listen, it was a long intro, and then when it started off, it didn't grab me. I'm sorry, I didn't grab me. I think it's like first line was like yo, and that was like not even like a thing. It was like I don't know. It just didn't grab me. Like I was waiting for the intro. I did enjoy the again, we had the luxury of seeing the animated video on the screens for people who didn't see it. So there is a video out for that. But yeah, the intro was long and the beat wasn't bad or anything like that. It's just that when he finally jumped in, I didn't grab my attention so much. You know what I'm trying to say? It wasn't a bad song, but again, because it didn't grab my attention, it's just kind of hard for it to connect with me and connect with my dots. Pause. So I'm gonna give that a 2.5.
Oh, this guy hit him with the 2.5.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
Yeah. I'll basically going off of your points, whatever. yeah, it was one of those ones where it took a while for it to get going, and made it even worse because the beat was slow. So it was like, like I'm waiting. Okay, yeah, all right, I'm waiting. Like, all right, like let's go, right? So it was like one of those ones where it's like, yeah, the beat from jump, it wasn't a captivating beat for me to be like, I'm okay with a long intro, but it just it wasn't one of those ones where it matched the vibe that I was looking for. In terms of like, the flow and delivery, again, it didn't come out the best for me per se. I thought it could have been a little better, especially when it came to like you said, like we talked about the beat selection when it came to B1 and those guys, and your bars, if you're gonna come with like a beat that's not 100, your bars have to take over, and it has to like match that vibe, it has to match that flow, whatever, right? So and I think it was a little bit of a struggle when it came to that. So I like the lyric video though. I really like the lyric video.
It wasn't a lyric video; it was an animated.
I like the animated video. I brought life to it. I thought it made
really nice video.
It helped. It helped.
It
helped in
helped.
It helped in like my decision on what I'm saying. I'm gonna give, and the video made it strong. I'm gonna give that a 3 just off the video. To be honest with you, if the video wasn't there, I would have probably given it a 2.5. To be honest with you.
Wild.
Right? But the video, it was one of those ones where it was the video that...
The video carried it for sure.
Right? Yeah. And it's kind of not fair to judge the Swiftie part from the first little bit that we were hearing. But
did it grab
it was one of those ones again.
Did it move you?
Nah.
But second verse doesn't count towards the score.
So I'm not going to count it towards the score.
You got lucky to kind of sneak a little preview, but all right. So we got what, a 2.5?
Yeah, 2.5 to 3. Solid 3.
So I'll say this. So
actually a 3.
I thought like it was like if you're chilling in the car, maybe smoking, driving, whatever. Like I don't know, you can give it like a smoke. Like I'll chalk that up to like it's a smoking tune. That's what I would say. Whether it's driving, you shouldn't drive while you're smoking, but whether you're chilling out, whatever, and you're smoking, whatever, right? It's like a chilling, listen to it while you're smoking vibe. That's what I would say. My overall judgment of the track. But like to give some like criticism, like some feedback. What I would say is like his delivery and his voice, like his flow, was good in my opinion. But like what he was actually saying, like his lyric, his pen game, I felt was like, and I don't mean this in a super negative way, but was a kind of mediocre. Like you're kind of rapping like shoe with like glue. You know what I mean? Like kind of like onesie twosie bars. It's not like wordplay.
There was no like
lyricism to it. But he was telling a story, which I thought was cool. The video definitely accompanied with it, made the overall track record better. And I actually think that this kid's got potential. Like, I've never heard anything from him before, but I think he's got potential. But yeah, the track didn't hit for me. Like, I actually thought this kid was about to shred this track, and then he didn't. And it was like slow beat, slow rap, like delivery, you said, right? Exactly. So like you gotta paint, or I think you said it too. But like, you gotta paint that picture over. Like it's time for you to become Picasso here. Like hit them with some bars, hit them with some good like lyrics, and then but also some good wordplay. Like some good wordplay on that with that specific kid. Like his voice, cadence, and everything.
Exactly,
like,
I agree. I like
he could have shredded that. That could have been an easy 4 for me. But I'm gonna give it a 3. I definitely thought it was better than that one that I gave it 2.5. So I definitely have to bump it up. Plus, it had the animated video to accompany it. I almost want to give it a 3.5, but after listening to you guys, I feel like a bum if I gave it a 3.5. So you get a 3. Good job though. Keep it coming. And shout out to all artists for sending in. And again, I mean no disrespect by what we said. I know none of these guys do. It's all coming from a place of hey, we want to see everybody do better.
Send in another tune.
Please send in another track.
If
some more hype, a little bit more
send another
upbeat.
tune, just a different style,
more energy, different energy.
Different energy.
Sure. I like the aggression. I like the the tone of it, and if we have like that right beat, send us that banger track that you got laying in that in the box there. You know you got it. So shout out to everybody that brought in the tracks today. I know we really touched mainly on the Cat Williams stuff today, but I felt like it was very important because
breaking the internet.
But
we want our 22 million views as well, bro.
Yeah.
So share that shit. Share the video.
But like comedy is an art form that I respect, and we all love comedy, and comedy's not. It's like a cousin of hip hop in my opinion. Sure. Like it's like a long lost cousin or something.
There's a lot of clown rappers that are out there, so So, you know, it's a hand-in-hand thing. What? I'm just saying.
No, you ain't wrong.
I'm just saying.
But, no, shout out to everybody for watching. Shout out to the dogs.
Yeah.
You already
Dog
know.
them. Oh, shit.
Shout out to Dre Specs not here today. And shout out Mr. Hollywood. Connect the dot. You know what it is. Subscribe, follow, all that shit. Comment, whatever.
Peace, love, and respect. You already know.
Share with a friend.
Peace.
Next week, connect the dot. City to city, we drop. Put it together and watch. Out for the best. Coming up next week, connect the dot.